Music.
Music. Do. Good job, TB. Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions. Dana White Contender Series edition with your host, back again, the Guru, with special guest host, 4 Ounces to Freedom podcast own. Zach likes MMA, regional MMA handicapper, interviewer, MMA extraordinaire, fantastic gentleman, curator of fancy hats. What is up, my friend?
Not much. I'll put 2 on for you. Looking forward to another week of the Contender Series. We were gifted with a phenomenal show last week, and like most UFC shows, the follow-up episode is not good.
The sequel's never quite as good as the original, is it?
Not like This is the season. It's supposed to be like the creme de la creme. Like the names after this episode get better and better. This one was just like the
rejects.
Yeah, we have to do a show. There's no UFC card next week. This should have been next week's card and just like do a whole phone-in week of UFC. But it is what it is. We got 5 fights. It's a Tuesday night. We finally get rid of the Ultimate Fighter, and then we have this card.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a card that we have. There's definitely some interesting bouts on here. Some guys that if you are longtime Dana White Contender Series watchers, you may or may not recognize. We've got the returning Torres Finney. We've got the returning Cortavius Romulus. Those are the 2 returners, right?
Yeah, no one else, I believe. I think Razvan Kanayev was supposed to be on it, but never actually fought on it.
Oh, no. And then, I forgot the third guy. Come on. We got Kuniev. Right?
No, so I was right.
Right,
I thought he was supposed to be on it, but never made the walk.
Didn't he make the walk? Wasn't he terrible? Am I forgetting? Honestly, my brain is fucking mush. We sound like ridiculous. He did. Yeah. This was back in the time. Both of these guys, a couple of them anyway, him and not Cortavius, who got knocked out round 1. The other one, Finney, both got finishes and didn't get contracts. Like very bizarre stuff, at least from this like at least what we know of Dana White Contender Series now, which is like get as much 12-12 action as you can possibly get. But that was back in the day when he was like being selective about who we wanted to sign.
And also another reason why we don't remember that one too is that episode also had Daniel Zahuber, it had a Cal Barallo, Aaron Jeffrey. Like there was much better names on there than Rizvi and Konayev.
Oh my God. And speaking of, all right, we'll get to it. Let's open up this card with what I honestly think I'm like it might be the best fight or the most intriguing fight of the night. You've got Billy Brand taking on Cody Haddon in the bantamweight division. I for me in this fight, I feel like it's just a really close fight. Billy Brand's gonna probably be a little bit smaller. But I just felt like he's a dog. Like I was really impressed with what I saw in the Peyton Talbot fight. He's a shit talker. He loves to just kind of press forward. He'll use some lateral movement to set up his strikes. He's got some solid calf kicks, but kind of what I did see and didn't love is that he's willing to eat a lot of damage, and he kind of starts to lack head movement over time, which I think is kind of fair about anybody that starts to lose, doesn't have maybe the best cardio or maybe just the not enough experience at 5-1. And then somebody in Cody Haddon, again, had a fantastic fight with Steve Erceg, back and forth war, steals round 2, knocks him down. Shocking that Steve Erceg doesn't have a chin or whatever. Whoever would have predicted that? Not fucking me, betting Steve Erceg with all my goddamn money. But, Haddon has solid striking. He's got a nice use of combos. He uses footwork. He's a fairly technical striker. He's willing to shoot takedowns. I saw some nice spinning elbows that were like kind of well timed from him. the weird part though is like his willingness to use takedowns despite like not setting them up and just kind of shooting from really far out. And he's got some suspect takedown defense of his own. So I got some grappling concerns of his. So to me, I'm so interested to hear your breakdown on how you feel because my real thought was this was a damn close fight. So I lean dog, and I also lean fight going the distance. Both these guys are tough son of bitches. Yeah, they're kind of known for getting finishes. Haddon, I believe all his wins are by finish, so I may be tempting fate here, but I don't know. I just feel like they're kind of tough, but yeah, they definitely have defensive holes that either one could capitalize on. So please, Zach, bring some clarity.
Yeah, this is one that like I don't know why this is the opening fight. It's kind of be like last week where you could have played last week's card in reverse, and it was the perfect setup for Contender Series. If you would have topped off with that loner finish as the ending of the night, I don't think we get 4 contracts. I think we get 3 that we should have. Outside of that, you know, this fight itself, pretty even matched. I mean, getting even plus money on one of the sides is pretty interesting. This is if this was a pick 'em, I'd be on agreement as I am with the odds as they are, which is a weird way to word it. I do lean Cody just for the fact that I haven't the competition that Billy has finished was a 0-1, a 1-0, and a 1-1. Like you should be finishing those kind of fighters. You know, on Cody's side, not much better. A 9-7, a 19-12, a 1-1, 5-0. Like if you're going 5-0, 1-0, then you're fighting like a 30 fight veteran. Eternal's playing to push you. Like they're putting you in fights that obviously you can win. So I don't know if I could even go one side directly on this one. I did also kind of agree that the distance is the play here. That's plus 120. So I mean, at that point, you're kind of hitting in the middle, like minus 155 or 25 for Billy. I think it's gonna be back and forth. So why not take that play? Otherwise, like you're probably maybe Cody over 1.5, which is probably gonna bring you to about maybe even better odds there. But then you go that way, then Billy Brand's gonna get the finish in like the third round.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm willing to play it there. Fight goes the distance plus 120. I just don't. If you want to get crafty, split your bet and take both inside the distance. I think both have the ability to, but I think this is gonna be back and forth. We're getting the judges. We're gonna go basically from a nearly perfect finish card last week to a bit of decisions this week.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think both guys are really tough. And while they both have defensive holes, I think that they're both game to keep fighting. And I also think that they're both willing to mix up some grappling if they get into too dicey of a situation striking, which will then allow for the fight to continue to play out. Let's move along. We've got into the middleweight division. We've got Cam Rouston taking on Torres Finney, the Punisher, and Van Dam. Honestly, I got to give both of those guys their credit for their nicknames there because those are pretty solid nicknames. Actually, I don't really like Cam Van Dam. I feel like that's like a little lazy. That's something TB would do. So, don't love that one. Yeah, don't love that one. Yeah, Cam Rouston. I mean, the line on this fight is absolutely bananas. You're getting Torres Finney at minus 410, Cam Rouston plus 290. Yeah, the size advantage here of Cam Rouston was fucking bananas. It looks like a pride fight. At the same time, there wasn't so much tape per se that I could garner on Cam Rouston. At the same time, he's only had one fight in 2 years. So I just don't know that he's going to be able to keep the fight at range. When a guy like Torres Finney, I mean, every single fight, he sprints across the octagon and goes for the most aggressive double leg takedown you've seen in MMA. I mean, it's basically, you might as well be playing football. I mean, that's just what he does. And from there, he does absolutely nothing. I mean, he's like a lay and pray grappler. He has very little damage. He has no sub attempts. I mean, it's terrible. But unless Cam Rouston can make him work either getting up or being an unbelievable transition grappler, I just think Torres Finney is going to win. And he's kind of like he's kind of already UFC. He is kind of UFC caliber, especially with the level of people they're bringing in. When you're this good at something, you're going to be better than a large majority of people. So until somebody can Jorge Masvidal Ben Askren him, like literally just keep him from fucking doing that or shuck him off. The dude is like a complete roided out muscle hamster. He's like William Knight's mini me. I mean, he's fucking jacked. So give me I like the fight. I like the over. I don't know what the line is set at. I want over. Do they do over 1.5? Do we have a line? I don't have any lines, Zach.
1.5 seems to be where it's probably going to be at, because I only see over 2.5 at one place, and the lines on that I wouldn't see get much action on.
Right.
So I think 1.5 is going to be the play at most books.
Like nestled, like where do you think, if you had to guess and extrapolate?
Most books are about between -105 and -111 for the over.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, if you're giving me pick'em or like what I mean, even money at fucking over 1.5, you have to take it. This dude's not getting the finish in the first 5 minutes. I really don't think so. I mean, he has to. To me, the way he's gotten his finishes, he's like and it is impressive. He'll use wrist control, or he'll leg lace and then use wrist control, and he just, I mean, they're rabbit punches. They're nothing. There's nothing there, but you have to stop the fight because you're eating a million of them. It was hilarious. The announcers kept going in one fight. Any minute now, they're gonna stop this fight, and literally like minutes kept turning off the clock, and this dude's just punching them, but none of them are landing. Zach, take this away.
Yeah, I mean, Torres Finney, he's fought who you would expect to fight when you're fighting in the South. I'm going to try not to diss the two promotions, because I do enjoy watching Aries fight series. I think it's hilarious that they do fights inside of like a blues bar down in Tennessee. Like the guy who did that Rich Man of Richmond bullshit, like the one concert that he like really did huge down south was at the venue they do these fights at. So like it's not much.
I gotta be honest. I think we might have to fly out to Tennessee and do like that. Sounds fucking so fun. That sounds so fun.
The level of competition too on these cards is like your local bar probably has better competition, which is why Torres Finney fought a 1-3, a 1-12, a 1-2. Then finally they're like, oh, we should probably give this guy some like positive fighters, and you get 5-1, 5-3, and so on. His best fight to date is probably his Contender Series fight, and that one he won because Yuri was just nothing in that fight. The Russian Polar Bear should have won that fight. I think I actually went on him over Torres in that one. Then, Dana White does his whole typical kid, you need to go get one, go win elsewhere. And he fights a 15-12 bum at Combat Night Pro Duval. And I think the coolest part of that card was it was Star Wars night.
Oh, I actually didn't pick up on that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, like, I mean, 15-12, it looks good on the resume. The guy has 27 fights, and, he knocks him out in the first round. It went viral.
That was the fight. Oh, my God. I would make sure that was the fight. Bro, I didn't know about it. I just was watching it an hour ago. Oh, my God. Guys, go watch the knockout. Finney versus Tyson Jeffries. Holy shit. Stiff as a board. One of the more brutal knockouts you'll ever see. I mean, sick. Right. I mean, once I saw it, I was like, okay, you got to sign him.
Yeah, like that was the fight that
he gets a chance.
You can at least bring him back off of that one. I would have liked to see him get one more, like fight someone that was like maybe right near the cusp as well. Instead, you fight a guy who's never going to make it anywhere, and you get the viral knockout. Both people in that fight did their job. On the other side, Cam's first loss was Jacob Malkoun.
Right. And that's kind of where I felt like this was going to be like a similar style. Like, it's just, if you didn't win that one, I mean, how much better could you get? I mean, I guess it's been a long time. I don't
You
know.
would hope after 7 years something came of it, but then you look at his wins: first round, and a first round in like 40 seconds.
Yeah, and against
Like,
nobodies.
So he's fighting, the top tier opponents in Australia. 4-9. He's 6-2, beating a debutant. Congratulations. Yeah. Then you fight a 3-6, and then they're like, we need this guy on Contender Series. Brutal. And on that note, like, anyone that's betting Torres Finney at -360, what are you doing?
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Is he going to finish Cam? Maybe. Maybe he gets into the ground and can like hold him down with the top heaviness and just pounds away, or gets a neck and goes for it. I'm with you on the over 1.5. I think he gets the finish. I don't trust it enough to go Finney by finish, which is, where's that at? Yeah, Finney inside the distance. You just don't know it. I don't even want to see it anywhere. Inside distance is -200. So at that point, you're getting like, just play the over 1.5 and hope it hits 7.5 minutes.
I think we will.
I mean, maybe you do Torres Finney over 1.5 and get it maybe like at -180, maybe. But at that point, like you're risking too much for not much reward. Maybe you parlay Finney or stay with over 1.5. Like, it's one of those, like, this card is so gross.
It's really gross.
It's asking for Cam Roston to just like knock him out with like a one, kind of what in the next fight, what happened to Octavius last year. It's what we're asking for in this fight. But over 1.5.
Yeah, I don't love Cam Roston's skill set. He's gonna have to really prove something here against a physical specimen. So we're gonna move on to the third fight of the night here. In the bantamweight division, we've got Cortavius Are You Not Entertained Ramius taking on Michael Imperato. Very interesting fight in that Cortavius got knocked the fuck out round 1 on Dana White Contender Series, gets a 10-second, a sub 1 minute win against some of the worst competition you could ever possibly face, one single fight, and gets invited back to Dana White Contender Series. It's absolutely positively banana. He doesn't like, you gotta, what does it mean when you don't make somebody earn it? He beats a 15-28 Eric Vo by 52nd round 1 armbar, and now you're back. I don't love it. And you've got a guy in Michael Imperato who has a lot of experience. I don't really love his skill set. Poor striking defense, struggles to close the distance on the feet. He just kind of blitzes forward. He's got questionable cardio and questionable top control. And he's wrestling dependent, but I do kind of, the wrestling game is decent. He's a jiu-jitsu specialist and he throws kind of heavy. He's a positional wrestler. I don't know. I kind of think that unless Cortavius sparks him with his 5 round 1 finishes, 3 of which by armbar, like, unless he sparks him early, like, I feel like this dude's got a shot. So just make it interesting. So my shot is on maybe Imperato money line. I don't think this fight goes the distance. I think either way somebody's getting served. Imperato by sub will be an interesting one. I think Ramius by KO is going to be completely mispriced, just because like he's a pretty sizable favorite here. So yeah, that's it. Dog or pass. I guess I'm not really thinking much here. Dog or pass on the first one, over 1.5 second. Dog or pass on the third. What do you got for us, Zach?
Yeah, so coming into his Contender Series fight last year, Cortavius beat a guy who I actually really like. I don't think he'll ever make it past the level he's at, and Nasty Nate Williams. He beat him by armbar at LFA 160, and so when he got announced for Contender Series, like that makes sense. Great competition, makes it there. Obviously comes out, gets starched in 30 seconds from Ramon Tavares. Not a bad loss. And obviously, after 30 seconds, what did you see for him? So I don't even hate the invite back, but I feel you should get an invite off of like a real win, not a 15 and 28 win. But are you not entertained? He does live up to the nickname. Then on the other side, like, I was actually surprised, and I think it's actually an age factor here. Michael Imperito is 34 years old. So if he wins, prepare the whole I don't like signing 30-year-old prospects, yada, yada, yada. We'll talk about that again when we hit the main event. But last time out at Unified MMA 55, he beat Ricky Bendijas, which is a name that like, some people know because he was in Bellator. That's kind of where he peaked at. But if you go back 10 years ago, Ricky was a big stable at CFFC. He's beaten a guy that might bring some bells from people, Marab. He beat him by decision. And, obviously that was Marab's third fight. Marab has obviously done a lot more since then, hence the title shot next month. He's also beaten Tony Gravely, James Gallagher, and so on. But I think if Michael was younger and he gets that win, he signed directly. There is no Contender Series for Michael with that win. But because of that, he gets here. Michael has faced people that are already in the UFC. He faced Mike Malott. He lost. Julio Arce. He lost. So, like, what are you really basing him on? I do think this is a feeder for Cratavius. Someone wants him in there, and they're like, Michael coming off that win makes Cratavius's win tomorrow night bigger, even if it's a layup. Saying that, this is the first one I think we're going to fully disagree on. I'm not playing Cratavius at minus 345 because he was minus 600 last year when he got starched.
That's hilarious. I didn't actually remember that.
And you look at the fact that I think you said the over. I do think this is an under, mainly because of age. I think he is going to clip him. Maybe go for submission. I don't think he finishes them with the strikes. Minus 155 essentially for the under. So you do get the better, obviously, play. Not only playing a small sprinkle on Michael itself, but on the over. Under 1.5 is fine for me. Cratavius, maybe he grows in the UFC after a signing. Something like a Chase Hooper, where like maybe his first fights are just like really rough, and then he finally finds his footing and really looks good afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I would look at it. I would look at an under 1.5 here. I think it's a little more aggressive of a play that I'm used to. But I just feel like for this fight, I think that there's going to be fireworks. I think that if Cortavius is going to come out like a house on cards, house on fire, regardless, right? So it's either he's gonna spark him or he's gonna like make a mistake and end up in a bad spot, and this jiu-jitsu expert's gonna get a hold of him. So
I mean, you could even counter that and say maybe because of last year he comes out slow.
Yeah, it's possible, guys. Listen, everybody in the chat. We really appreciate all of you guys. Chime in there. Let us know what your best bets are. We've got the Over the Octagon podcast chiming in saying Contender Series isn't a great place for a 34-year-old prospect. You're not wrong in the sense that, I mean, this is probably like your last chance to make it, and then you're still going to get shit on for being old. At the same time, if you're 34 and made it, hey, man, this is as good a chance as any to let it all fucking hang. Look at somebody like Blake Builder, out here getting, multiple fights in the UFC. You get a lot of fighters that actually get their chance, right, to make it. So would be very interesting to see what will happen tomorrow night in this matchup. But we get to move along to probably the most hilarious fight I've seen in a while. We've got at the heavyweight division, we've got Rizvan Kuniev taking on Hugo Cunha, Silverback. You've got a battle of the champions. You've got Eagle FC heavyweight champion versus LFA heavyweight champion. I don't know what's going on with Cunha. I'm not sure how he like what his deal is. I mean, if you've watched Dana White Contender Series again, you know Eduardo Neves, and Eduardo Neves is really bad, and Eduardo Neves is kicking his ass for the entire fight, and then he just kind of makes a mistake and gets one takedown, moves right into mount, and Neves just gets it's hilarious. It's so bad. He likes takedowns and he's takedown dependent. He's got, I don't know, okay offensive grappling, but he's low output. He shells up. He closes his eyes when people strike at him. He looks uncomfortable striking at distance. He lacks urgency to get the takedowns in general. And he was even dropped by Neves in his last fight. So I just think it's a he's totally bad. But the problem is that Kuniev is so fraudulent. I mean, his losses are like to decent competition, so he'll probably be enough to get it done. And the fact that he's lost to Stosic and Justin Willis, but I mean, the dude just popped at PFL for every single steroid under the sun in the Renato Fajea fight. And I don't even understand why. How is he getting? Why? Why are they doing this? It's that's like so negligent of the UFC to take a known steroid user who just failed and bring him in. Like, what are you doing? And the guy looks terrible. He's so fat. He's so out of shape. And I guess he was never in shape. He was just using steroids. So, I don't know. He's got a decent wrestling game. He kicks to all three levels. He'll chain wrestle, single from the double back to the single. I don't know. Overs and diabetes. This fight goes to disappointment. Shout out Mushroom. We got Rune Kin saying, I too will let it all hang out. You do that, man. Thanks so much for popping in the chat. Zach, please let us know how you're feeling about this fight while I go make sure my cats aren't killing each other. I'm listening.
Yep. So, I mean, it's nice to know that being managed by Ali and Dominus MMA can get you a fight after popping positive for drestotonylene, methylone, botuline, 19-nordostrine. Basically, and if you're getting busted for steroids in PFL, you're really on steroids. And on what would have been a very great win over Renan Ferreira. So you beat him, you're on every drug possible to the point that PFL has to suspend you. Like, PFL's normal drug testing is like, are you on steroids? And if you say no, they let you slide. Like,
well, I mean, they caught Wilkinson, they caught Santos, they've caught a bunch of people lately.
Well, this was like the card that was all in Vegas, where Vegas drug test. So they quickly learned that you cannot do PFL cards in Vegas if you don't want people to be suspended. On this one, on the other side, Hugo, like, yeah, one loss, okay, and like a split decision at one championship, to the point that one championship just was like, we're okay not letting you fight here anymore. Both 31, so again, no matter who wins is going to get the whole, I don't like signing 30-year-old prospects. Maybe he pulls it back because it is heavyweight, and you can get a title shot at heavyweight, losing your last like 2 fights, getting fucking killed your last fight, but because John Jones is the pound for pound,
listen,
whatever.
If anybody goes in a room with John Jones, they are not coming out. And
especially his wife.
Probably because he hit them with his car. But
so, I mean, like, minus 700 on a guy who's not the same guy that fought last year. A guy who is just allowed to fight as of April of this year. Like, this is like, what deal did Ali make to get him on here?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is the biggest deal Ali has made since 2001.
Wild stuff. Wild stuff going on.
So
I don't know how this.
I don't even want to. I don't want this fight to be canceled.
Should be canceled. Probably shouldn't even be sanctioned. Really sketchy. I kind of like the over 1.5, but I have no idea what the lines are. That's kind of just where I would lean. I think that they're fat and lazy and going to slop all over each other. So we're going to move on to the main event of all main events. You've got Pat Pitelick taking on Andreas Gustafsson Berg. Your welterweight main event. This fight's fucking bananas. I've said bananas a few times today, but I mean, if there's any bananas of all bananas, this is the most bananas because Andreas Berg Gustafsson is fucking he's insane. He just barrels forward. He's a brawler. He's reckless. He's a bulldozer. He just comes forward with complete reckless abandonment. He has zero care for anything that happens to him at all. I tweeted it earlier. What was the fucking fight, dude? What's the bloodbath? He goes to war. Do you know the it's on the tip of my tongue.
Is that the Tony
You
fight?
know, yeah, what's his name? Tony what?
Tony Lampanine?
Yes. Oh my fucking god. What a fight. Go watch it. Please go watch it. Yeah, the fight was just fucking amazing. What do we got going on? Eric's asking Dana always speaks the truth. I mean, he speaks his truth. I don't know if it is the truth. He speaks his mind. So love or hate Dana, you do have to kind of admire that. Yep, Mushroom, hello. Terrence says hello to you as well. Yeah, I just kind of expect violence here at the end of the day. I wonder what like the fight to end by KO is. Because Gustafsson, like I said, has absolutely zero regard for his own safety. So it wouldn't exactly be the most surprising thing to see him get finished, but he is also the minus 265 favorite for like a fairly decent reason. I think he's just his combinations are absolutely sick. And somebody like Pat, he's a solid distance striker and he's got KOs across, 5 in round 1, but then he's got multiple across, the later rounds. It's just his competition is so poor and he lacks his own head movement and he's got not great takedown defense. And this dude, Gustafsson, will smash a takedown just because. So I lean Gustafsson, and like I said, some violence, somebody getting served, maybe fight to end by KO. Give me some violence. Maybe it's a parlay. Maybe we parlay some violence. Maybe this parlay this violence and Ramius violence, just like in general, fight violence. What do you think? For the final time this evening, we went way, way, way too long on this podcast, but we did have fun. So, what do you got, Zach?
So Pat's 35 years old. Andreas is 33 years old. I don't sign 30-year-old prospects, but I'm still going to match.
Thank you for bringing that up. How did we go for 32 minutes and still not bring that up? That's awesome. Yeah, I tweeted that. It was hilarious. Exactly. How is that your whole predication and you book this main event? He actually just doesn't know who gets booked for Dana White Contender Series. That's my theory. He literally doesn't.
He actually doesn't.
Fuck.
He actually does not really know who's on Contender Series.
I guarantee it. I bet he trusts his staff, and I bet he'd rather be surprised because his reactions then become more genuine. It's hilarious. I've already nailed it. Boom.
Yeah. So Pat's fight obviously was featured on Looking for a Fight when they did the Unified 55 fight. Dana did not even see Pat's fight at the fight because he went and took a piss. Pat's wife basically tells him, like, you need to watch my husband. He's going to knock the guy out. You have to watch my husband. He's going to knock the guy out. And he goes, yeah, who's your husband? And she gives him the name. And he goes, okay. And then he goes and takes a piss and misses the fight because it does end in 95 seconds. So not only does he not know who's on Contender Series, he didn't see the fucking fight they're promoting. So he gets to the fight. And it says a lot when you come in, you're trying to rebuild your Canadian roster. And you're like, we're going to take the one guy who is at the end of his career, put him on Contender Series against a guy who's going to destroy him. And we're going to act like it's an even match. Plus 210 on Pat. Have fun. I'm not taking it. Andreas Berg, minus 270. Not touching that either.
Right.
What does get interesting, though, is when you start looking at Berg by finish. Him by finish is minus 135.
No. I mean, I guess. He's probably, if he wins, he's going to get a finish.
Yeah, and if he wins, how is he going to get the finish? What's the most logical answer here?
I mean, probably knockout.
So the knockout prop is plus 125. That's the play for me.
Yeah, he has seven knockouts of his 10 wins. So that does make sense.
Yeah, and it's like 1 sub, 2 subs.
Yeah.
Sub is minus or plus 320. No, I just saw it. This website sucks. Plus 425. So how if you're going plus 425 and plus 125? Like how is the distance minus 135? Like I don't get where that's coming at.
That makes no sense. I mean, because we don't have official lines. That's probably right. Hey,
Yeah,
don't bite
I
my
mean these are
chair.
all currently based off of Bet Online, which they open early. We will probably get nowhere near as juiced and lovely as these are.
Right.
But I mean, when you compare it to like Pat by knockout plus 375, Pat by decision 20, or Pat by submission 2,500, and then Pat by decision is like plus 500 as well. So like
Yeah,
it's
I mean
all obvious who's winning.
but it's his win condition is, to me, is knockout. I mean, he's got 9 wins and 9 knockouts. I just don't
Yeah.
see it any other way.
I'm Andreas by knockout. I'm Andreas by knockout. If you get those
I like that.
those round those round combos, I would say 2 and 3. I think it does get out of the first round.
Interesting.
Over 1.5 is plus 110 currently at multiple places. Bet US does have it at plus 135.
Interesting.
I don't think Andreas steamrolls him in the first minute, in the first round. So like the 2-3 combo works out. I think 1.5 is pushing it. Even though
I like the 2-3 combo because you look at his splits, and he has 3 round 1 finishes, but he has 4 in round 2 and 2 in round 3. So I absolutely love that play. I'm going to be following you on that one. Guys, make sure you're following the 4 Ounce to Freedom podcast over on YouTube, constantly interviewing new fighters. Make sure you're following Zach Likes MMA over on Twitter. Make sure you're following me, the Guru Scouting MMA over on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, Picket, Tapology, and Bet MMA. And I that's it. That's all I've got to say. We're not acknowledging somebody who may or may not be here. Make sure you tune in on Thursday for a fantastic Apex card. Jeez Louise. Guys, just tune in. Let's make some money. Take care. Be safe out there. And check you next time.
music.
Yeah, supposed to be music.